Hey everybody, it's me, Beth Maitland from Drama Queen Bee Quilt Studio, and I have a new little impromptu improvisational piecing video prepared for you. And I just wanted to tell you that I got up this morning and I thought, you know what, improvise. But the idea is to give you a little bit of hope and a little bit of cheer, and that's all. And I hope that you'll enjoy it. Make something. We're in this together. I pulled out, I decided to do another edition that involves strip improvisational piecing and how to make little panels out of just strips. So I pulled out a bunch of fabrics from my stash, and now we're going to take those little strips and we're going to sew them together and cut them and sew them together and cut them and sew them together and cut them and make little panels that we can intersperse with our wacky quilt that this is turning into like a block of the month project, but it's block of the week of quarantine. And we're going to start by just picking up a couple of random pieces. Now this was a little scrap left over from a quilt binding. So there's a diagonal seam. We don't care. It's improvisational piecing. Just put it all together. And let's see, that kind of looks nice with it. So we're going to sew those two together. Now these two are both 2.5 inches wide. So we might want to, at some point, thin one of our strips. And maybe we'll do that with this one. We'll fold it in half and fold it in half. So we're just gonna cut. And I have now made this a smaller strip, and now we have a really small strip, about 1 inch wide. So I'm gonna toss that in the pile. We're gonna take our maybe inch and a half piece and add it to our gray, and we're just gonna sew them both together along one straight edge. 1/4 inch seam, off we go. And for the sake of things, I think this is far enough. I'm going to just trim these off here and throw them back in the pile. And this will be enough to show you the plan. Okay. Now, when we press this open, that's what we will have. We'll have a little piece like that. So to make our panel, what we're going to do is fold that in half. Ish, and we're going to take the scissors and just slice right across it. And then we're going to put odd fabrics together and sew another seam. So we actually have identical pieces, but we're going to take the gray and sew it to the green and do another seam. You don't have to press it at this point. I just feel like that's sort of so now we've sewn those two together, and we're going to do the same thing. This is going to be kind of a little bit of a narrow panel, but you'll get the idea. So now we folded that in half and cut it again. This is what we ended up with, and now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to open this and sew these two pieces right sides together. We want a green and a gray. We want the opposite fabrics sewn together. If you make a mistake, it's not that big a deal, but that's going to give us a little bit of our stripe pattern in our panel. So we're going to sew those two together. And here's what we have. Now we have this little stripy swatch. Isn't that cute? And so that can easily be put on any of our improvisational bits. Here's a little pile of them I've been making. So we might press that out and at some point join that with that. And we're getting kind of some panels that are growing into a really interesting whole piece of fabric. We're actually cutting things up and making new fabric entirely. So I'm going to go press this, and we're going to do another one with a couple of different colors. And we're going to see a couple of combinations with them sewn together. Be right back. Okay, I'm back from pressing. And I squared it up a little because remember we said in our improvisational table mat lesson, there have to be straight edges for this to all kind of fit together ultimately in the end game puzzle. So I've straightened up the edges, and I've picked out a piece of improvisational scrap, and I think they're about the same size. And I think it looks great to join them in this dark and light so it's contrasty, but all the colors kind of go together. I'm going to join those and I'll be right back to show you what that looks like. Okay, look at that. So I squared up each line so that there was a straight edge to sew them together. I pressed them. And in any direction, this is kind of cute. It's growing into a piece of fabric we can make a small project out of. Either we can make this a long, thin piece and make a table runner, sort of modern table runner, which would be a really fun gift to give someone. The next time we're able to not be socially distanced and you actually get to go to someone's house for coffee or tea or dinner, you can bring along a table runner, and I always like to pair it with a candle or some little dish. Sometimes I love to collect wooden bowls. If I find them places, odds and ends places, I grab them and put them in my cupboard. And when I go to someone's house, I may bring a table mat or a table runner or something of that sort, paired with a candle or a bowl or a tray, some kind of interesting complimentary piece. And it's a lovely hostess gift. It could be a birthday present, any kind of little trinket gift. I love to make these smaller projects to save in a little pile and use those later for gifts. So we're going to do another strip and pair it with another panel that I've improvisationally pieced with scraps. We're going to do the strip thing one more time so that you guys can have this solidified in your minds. So again, this is a leftover piece of binding strip, a 2.5 inch piece, but this is just a scrap from somewhere. So we're going to, and the idea is to have them not be the same width because we want that kind of stripy look and we want it to be sort of interspersed. You can do it, but then it starts to look like you're intending, like you're piecing on purpose. And although we are with improvisational piecing, we want it to look a little bit more random. Part of the fun is built into the surprises that you get with the odd shapes. The cuts can be slightly off, which is why scissors work great. Not exact precision. We can square it up with a rotary cutter and ruler, but the scissors allow that little human influence, and that's what we're going for here. So now we're going all the way down the strip this time. And the purple piece was with the fabric. I'm sure it was cut with the fabric. So that's like 40 to 42 inches long. You guys know what they mean by width of fabric, right? When you're supposed to cut something in a pattern that's width of fabric, it's obviously the width of the rolled, the woven piece that comes off the bolt. So you will see the salvages at one end and a crease at the other. Now this is a 3-inch piece that was for piecing, I remember. And so this is exactly how it comes off the bolt. So that's what they mean by width of fabric. Doubled that, it's about 20, 21 inches each side of the fold. When you open it wide, it's about 42 inches. So we just did that. We're gonna cut off this little tail with our scissors, the little edge of the gray piece, and put it back in our pile. We use that for something else. And then remember, we just fold it in half-ish, and we cut the fold. And now we're going to open that, and we're going to sew a gray side to a purple side. Line up the tops-ish. And that's the casual nature of improvisational piecing, just, you know, ish. It's no stress sewing. It's just whatever works out. It's surprises, it's random, it's scraps, one of my favorite instructors calls it intuition. It's your intuition guiding you. But on the other hand, you don't even have to go that far. You don't even have to think about it that much. What we're doing is just lining up the edge, sewing things together, and dealing with how it all turns out as kind of a surprise. It's all the fun of it. All the fun and none of the stress. That's what we like during quarantine days, right? We're going to fold this in half again. And we're going to cut through at the fold line. And you saw probably when that was extended how great the little stripy effect is developing. So we want to sew a purple edge to a gray edge. So we'll do that. Take it back to the machine. And there is our purple and gray panel. Isn't it? Well, look at that. So we're back. I have not only pieced the purple stripey with a piece of improvisational quilting panel, but I've also pieced it together with the first one that we made. These are our strip set improvisational panels, and that's our just little bits and squares. And look at that. We're on our way to a really cute table runner to go with that candle or that gray ceramic bowl you found at the arts fair from some awesome potter. That's Aggie. Aggie says hello. Aggie's helping me quilt today. Anyway, this is how we make improvisational strip panels. And I hope that you had fun. We'll think of another scrappy project for us for the next time. So that's our little project from Drama Queen Bee Quilt Studios. It's me, Beth Maitland, sending all of my love during this very unusual time in our history, and hoping that you'll make something fun, that you'll use your mind and your creativity, that you will be willing to be flexible and be patient and not panic, and turn your time into something joyous and fun and beneficial to your health, to your mind, to your family, to your wellness. All these things I wish for you. My very best. It's Beth Maitland.